So last lecture में आपने देखा what it means by the role hierarchy. So and what is the use? What is the use of role hierarchy by the way? So although see why we create roles inside the organization, first of all what we wanted is that every user must have a designation, because every organization must have some few designations. Similarly, if we are designing a CRM also for any organization, the organization must have few designations. And then these designations, these are some positions, these are some designations which are being allotted to some of the users. So the main agenda says that why we actually create the roles is that first of all, let's create a few of the positions, few of the designations, and then assign those positions, assign those roles, assign those designations to different users, right? And one more thing was there that what is the ideology behind this all is that, if a certain user creates a report, for example, testing user creates a report, any kind of record, any object, could be an account, that or any of the customer. Now that particular record which is being created by any user, so that record should be visible to this manager. And moreover, the record which is being created by this user shouldn't be visible to anybody else, whether the user is a sibling. For example, that for the testing user, the manager is a sibling and the development user is also a sibling. So what is ideology? Ideally, what should happen is that, this user creates a record. That record shouldn't be visible to siblings as well as to the subordinates. That means this record being created by the testing user shouldn't be visible, shouldn't be visible to the manager. It shouldn't be visible to the development, and it should also be not accessible to the customer. So this was the ideology, having different roles, having different positions, and then assigning the position to the users. So this is what we actually wanted to achieve. This was the final goal what we wanted to achieve with the role. The problem is that yesterday I demonstrated this in a practical example also. You have seen that I have logged into the development users account, and then I created one of the record inside the account. I cross-verified this was visible to development, and it should be why, because he's the owner. The record that is being created by development user was also visible to CEO. That should also be correct. Why? Because he's the manager. And the record which is created by this development user, that was ideally shouldn't be visible to the manager, user testing, and the customer. Unfortunately, what we have observed is that this record was visible to everybody. This record was visible to everyone else, and this shouldn't be happen. This shouldn't. I mean, we must have certain type of record visibility inside the organization, and we should have that provision that the record of any user should be or should not be visible to some other, right? So now, to achieve this, to achieve this fact of record visibility, we are going to start with a very new concept, and that's really a very important concept. That inside the security, there are few things that are important. One was how to create the user, that you already have done. If I wanted to create a new user, there is no way to delete the user. But yeah, if I wanted to create the user, you should require a license and a profile. And the third thing, actually there were 3 steps: assign a license, assign a profile, and then assign a role. Out of that 3, you learn, file assigning the profile and the license. That was not mandatory. Sorry, it was mandatory. The assignment of role was not mandatory. This was the first thing that was important. There are a few more things what we have discussed under user management. Sometimes they also ask this in the interview. OWD is most important topic. Let me tell you. OWD is the most important topic that we are learning in the entire security topic, whatever we are learning right now. OWD is the most important topic. How out of all this, the OWD is the most important topic as far as it is concerned with our questions, right? So everyone, please be concentrate on this. Please concentrate on this. See, I'm actually not quite well today. I try to explain you as far as possible. If you have any question, you can ask me in the middle also. So, see, what is the full form first of all? Form of OWD is organization-wide defaults. I mean, we are going to learn a certain type of settings that are going to be applicable across the organizations. That is, it is something called as organization-wide defaults. You are going to learn few things, few of the things that you are going to learn right now. That is going to be applicable in the entire organization. I mean, it's not just about a user, it's not just about any single object, it's not just about a field inside the object. Actually, you are going to learn a certain thing and which is going to be applicable. We are going to learn a kind of settings. And if I make any changes in that setting, that is going to be applicable inside the organization, complete organization. And so this particular thing is called as organization-wide defaults. Let me start with this, Actually, I wanted to make a reverse engineering fact over here. Let me start with this, how many different types of OWD options are there. How many different types of OWD options are there. First of all, let's understand this. And then we will understand what is every option is for, what is the use of every option. We are discuss that also. We are going to discuss that also. See, I want every one of you to draw this table, not right now, because I'm telling you, every one of you should draw this table on your notes, whatever the notes you are custom. Draw this table and paste it on the wall wherever you sit and you study. And probably you sit in the same, when you give the interview, if you have any table, a chair, and there you study, you have a wall in front of you. So every one of you, just draw this table and paste it over that. And before pasting, you should learn. You should learn everything from. This is a table I have summarized. I have summarized this table in a way that you can learn it. Now, I have summarized this in a way that you can learn it. Otherwise, learning OWD is a very complicated task. Let me tell you that. How when I was under training of Salesforce, and when I used to, actually we were in the Hyderabad that time. Let me tell you, we were in the Hyderabad and the people, and there so many. Amirpet is one of the place in the Hyderabad, which is well known for all kind of, all kind of technocrats, whatever wanted the kind of technology you wanted to learn. So Amirpet is one of the place in the Hyderabad where actually there are so many institutes, and you go to there and probably you can find everything, whatever you wanted in the technology related to development, related to testing, related to any kind of technology, So there are so many. I mean, we were there that time, and then we were. I mean, we were having a group of guys that used to stay. Actually rented one of the flat and 8 people. So some of them were doing testing. Some of them, I mean, few people, like 5 to 6 people, were there. Was one into the Salesforce. I was one of. So we used to discuss this. I mean, some of them actually were in the batch that were quite ahead to us, and they were learning this security, and they have completed the admin. They started with the interview. So I used to heard it from them. The OWD is something which is very essential. You should learn OWD, and they were quite threatened about this. Why? Because then I realized why they found it to be very difficult. I mean, the people, those guys will say to me that OWD is something which is very important. At the same time, OWD is something which is very difficult to do. So I was not on to that topic, but I thought, why these people, everyone is saying the same thing. And they are saying that OWD is something they asked repeatedly in the interview. And this is something which is very important, but they found it very difficult to learn a different OWD options. So I'll tell you ki how the people has actually, during our training, how the people actually has taught this concept. Because see, I belongs to the education background. Before entering to this IT, I was actually a teacher. I belongs to fraternity of teacher, and I used to take the lectures in the evening. Some of the people dispatch. So because I belongs to that fraternity, I actually didn't stop it. Let me show you how they taught us, and then how I created my own way to learn this. And then actually, I shared this to my colleagues. You see, there are only 9 options. There are only 9 options in the, and for every option, this is my contribution. तो ये जब उनको ये टेबल मिला ना, so they were actually surprised कि ये तूने कैसे किया? मैंने कहा I have made some research on this. I invested almost 2 days for this, finding every option. And then this was one of the, this is the result, this is the outcome of that research, which I came up with this. I actually cross-verified. First of all, I cross-verified it with my trainer. I showed this table to sir. Actually, I have worked on this, and I come up with this. Just tell me whether I'm correct or this is something which I have missed. He checked it out. He also said me, yeah, this is something which is fantastic. Can you give it? Yes, of course, sir. This is what we are getting it from you. There's no question whether I can give it or yeah. So I just wanted to ask this whether this is correct or not. So he told me, yeah, this is absolutely correct. And from now onwards, we will also use this table. Why? Let me show you how they taught us OWD. First of all, go with this navigation. Set up administrator, security, control, and the sharing setting. Let me show you. Go to the setup menu and the administrator menu, and you have one option, security controls over here. Just expand this. Just expand this. थोड़ी सी आज मेरी तबीयत ठीक है इसलिए मैं ज़्यादा जोश में नहीं पड़ा. And here, here expand this and go to sharing settings. Sharing settings. So inside the sharing setting, the very first table. Actually, there are so many tables over there. Very first table what you see is about organization wide defaults. That means the first table is of OWD. And we do have certain more tables over there. Let me show you that also, because you need to work on this table. User visibility, other settings, and then we have sharing rules also. We are going to learn this also. What does it means by sharing? See, sharing rule is actually for individual object. I just wanted to show you that there are so many settings related to sharing and security is actually there. This interface is quite important. We are going to learn this also. Yeah, but for now, just stuck to the concept, and that is how to see the organization wide defaults. And they have actually taught us in this way. Go to the security control, go to sharing settings. Click on the sharing setting, you will find this thing. And now here, what you first of all see is that these are the name of every object, every standard, and your custom object. Your custom object. But inside the custom object, you will see the name of, like I can see the name of hiring manager, but I don't see the name of position and the candidate. Candidate is there probably. Yes, I don't have, position is also there, controlled by the parents. Fine. So let me show you something first of all. So there you can see the name of every object, and then these are the default OWD options. If you wanted to change this, go to this edit button. Now for lead, you have all these options. The OWD for the lead could be private, public read only, public read write, public write transfer. For account and contract, it is public read write, private. For the contact, it is like, controlled by the parents, order controlled by the parents, and all this option. So this was the way they taught us. Or this object have these many options you can. So this really becomes a nightmare to everyone. And people know that this is something which is very important, but they found it very difficult to. And what I have done that time, I just wanted to share this story. I'm not saying that I'm that much intelligent. I just wanted to realize you something, that what is the notes that you are having, the kind of training you are going to with this. Just a second. Yeah. So I just wanted to make you realize that if there are certain findings that I am sharing. With my experience, whatever I have done during the training, with my experience, whatever I am doing right now inside my work, so I'm making you, aware of that thing. ये इस तरह से जब हमको पढ़ाया गया था, it really becomes very difficult. And at the first, I myself realized that OWD is something which is very difficult to learn. Because every object, have, different options. How could I learn that this object have this option, and this option? How could I learn all this? This is not possible. So I thought there must be some way to learn this. वो अपने को बनाना पड़ेगा. मैंने कॉपी उठाया, पेन उठाया, शुरू. For every object, actually फिर मैंने क्या किया, I created one of the table. First of all, I see that how many different OWD options are there. I came to know that there are few OWD options: private, public, read only, public, read write. Apart from this, there are few more options like control by the parents. Control by campaign. Campaign is actually parent. It's one and same thing. So control by the parents is one more option. Then public, read write. Private, public, read only. There are a few more options, like there are some of the options like read, write, and transfer also. So first of all, I find out how many different OWD options are there. सबसे पहले मैंने ये निकाला, सबसे पहले मैंने ये निकाला. So I came to know that altogether there are 9 different OWD options. That's it. सबसे पहली फाइंडिंग ये थी कि OWD में सिर्फ 9 ऑप्शंस हैं. यहाँ दिखने के लिए इतने सारे थे. तो यहीं से पढ़ते थे. That is why they were finding it very difficult. It's become really a night. उसको कोई याद कर ही नहीं पा रहा. What I have done is that first of all I find out. मैंने निकाला. 2 दिन लगे थे शायद इसके लिए, 3 दिन. अभी उतना याद है. बट हाँ, मैंने एक ऑप्शन निकाला. I came to know that there are only 9 options. There are only 9 options: private, public read only, and public read. I categorize this into one. Why? बताऊं. And number 4 is public read, write, and transfer. Read सबसे पहले private, public पे आते हैं. Public पे पहला ऑप्शन कौन सा है? Read. दूसरा ऑप्शन है along with reading, writing also. Along with reading, the writing also. Yeah, transfer the IDs and sharing. I'll come to that option. After that, public read, write, along with the read, write, there is a transfer option also. And then public full access, no access, view only, and controlled by the parents. What you're saying that is that comes under everything across this, and everything apart from this, that comes under the control by the parent options. So what the Shweta is just now text. So everything apart from this comes under the control by the parent option. This is the default OWD option. फिर मुझे पता चला कि there are altogether 9 different options. ठीक है. उसके बाद फिर मैंने शुरू किया कि अब कौन सा ऑप्शन, which option is applicable to which object. That is what was the second point. इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा for the lead object, what are the options that are available? I came to know that lead have private, lead and this one and this option. So I have checked every object, and I have written it. I return it. I then counted this, and then finally after all this research, this table has been. So आज जो आपको ये table दिख रहा है ना सामने में, ये finding research इसकी मदद से WD बहुत आसानी से क्लियर होता है, ना सिर्फ आपके लिए, उसके पहले लोग इसको ये टेबल मिला. आज शायद वो लोग किसी को follow, I don't, so मैं नहीं जानती क्या चल, बस yes हाँ उन्होंने बोला था कि यहाँ शेयर करना, we will also from this onward we are going to record in this way. So now let's discuss this and learn this table, right? Every one of you should learn this all 9 options. Right? ये मैं नींद में भी उठा के आपको बारह बजे ये ऑप्शन किसके लिए, ये ऑप्शन किसके, आपकी जुबान पे आंसर तब आप कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाएगा, और तब इसमें से कोई भी एक ऑप्शन या इसमें से कुछ भी या इससे रिलेटेड कुछ भी अगर आपको पूछा गया, कैन कॉन्फिडेंटली डिलीट कॉन्फिडेंटली। ये एक ऐसी असाइनमेंट है जो आप सभी इन अब इसको शुरू। फर्स्ट इज प्राइवेट। This option is actually available for all. For every object, this option is available. Again, not just private. Let me tell you that. These 3 options: private, public read only, and public read write. And so, see, I actually have created a group of this. I group all these 3 options in one. You know, these 3 options are into one. Now this group is actually, I mean, these options, private, public read only, and public read write. These 3 options are available for every object except one. Except that is price book. Price book is the only object that doesn't have these options. Apart from this, see, at any time you can cross verify. Don't wanted to make this research of your own, go with that. But believe me, these are the final findings. These are the final. Want to have some research, go ahead. If you have the time, go ahead. Or else just believe on the research and learn it in the same. These 3 options: private, public read only, and public read write. Public read write, up to read write, not transfer. Public read write. These 3 options are available for every object, whether your object is a standard object, custom object. There's only one object that doesn't have this option, and that is price book. Let me show you. Just pick any random. It must have private, public read only. Just pick any random object. Or if you wanted to check, just go with the series. Take the first object. You have private, you have public read only, you have public read write. Take the second object, account ending contract. Have these 3 options in here. Take this object, have these 3. Apart from this, there's one more option. I'm talking about the first 3 options: private, public, read only, and read write. Now these 3 options, these 3 options are available for every object. This was my finding. Even for the standard, if I go up with the custom also, this, I don't know when, but I created this also sample one. I don't know when I created, probably during trainings while explaining you some concept, I created this. Private, public read only, and public. See this option, go to author, go to candidate hiring. First 3 options. So these first 3 options, private, public read only, these are available for every object except the price book. Now let's see if there is a price book. Price book is somewhere. This is not arranged in alphabet. See, where is the price book? Observe calendar price book. Here is the price book. See, here we don't have these 3 options: private, public, read only. So except, apart from price book, every other object have this option. And so I created a group of 3 OWD options: private, public, read only, and write. And my conclusion is that this option is available for everyone, every object, every standard, every custom, except there is only one object that doesn't have this option, but that object is price book. Then the fourth option, public read, write along with transfer. This option is available only for the object. One is the lead and the second is case. So this option, public read, write along with the transfer. See this option. This option is available only with the two objects. That is the lead object, and the second is your case object. Only these two objects have a transfer option, and it is true with them. Why? When we come to this, I will tell you why only these two have this option of transferring the record. Why not another object? Now, if you check with any other object, if you check with any other object, so it doesn't have this option. So calendar actually, calendar is an object. Although you are asking me, sir, यहाँ पे ये options क्यों नहीं दिख रहा है? So let me tell you that calendar is actually belongs to activities. So this is although it's an object, but it's a kind of object which parent object is activities. Parent object is activities, and so this is not at all important. This is not at all important. These are not OWD options. First of all, these are not OWD options. Okay, these are not options. So और अभी जो आपने बताया वो they also belongs to. अब ये अगर है भी, this belongs to a single category called as controlled by the parents. For calendar, who's the parent? Activity is the parent. For campaign member, who's the parent? Campaign object is the parent. These options controlled by the campaign member and controlled by the campaign. This actually means controlled by the parent. It comes under this option. Okay, this comes under this option. So this option of transferring, public read, write, transfer. This option is available with only two objects. One of them is lead, the second is case. With these two objects only have the option of transfer. So public read, write, and the transfer. This option is available only for what? Lead and the case. Then the fifth OWD option is public full access. Now full access is only available with one of the object called as campaign. So there's an object campaign that only have this option full access. Apart from the campaign, there is no other object that have this option. You can cross verify with any object. Click any random, and then you can see that there is no such option called as full access. This option is only available with public full access. This option is only available with one of the objects called as campaign. Now, one interesting thing that I came to know is that these three are the options: private, public read only, and public read write. These three OWD options are available to every object except one. Who's that? Price book. So one interesting thing what I my findings actually in my findings I came to is that if these three options are not there in the price book have certain three options that are available inside the price book. अगर ये तीन options से सब में है और प्राइस बुक में नहीं है, प्राइस बुक में ऐसे तीन options है जो सिर्फ प्राइस बुक में है और किसी और में नहीं. These three options: no access, view only, and use. No access, view only, and use. These are the OWD options, and these three options are only available in the price book. Nowhere else any object have apart from the price book have no access, view only, or use. No other object have this option. These three options are only available in price book. So it somehow make it symmetric to learn. कहीं ना कहीं अपन याद करने में ऐसा कोई रिलेशनशिप दिमाग में क्रिएट कर सकता है. There are three options these three options are not available in the price book. That means there are some three options that are available in the price book. If A equals to B and B equals to C, that means A is also equals to C. This is what the symmetric relationship we हमने बचपन में पढ़ा था. Our minds create some sort of relationship automatically so that it makes it easy to understand. It makes it easy to learn. So there are three options that are available to everybody, but they are not available to price book. And certainly price book have three options that are available only to price book. No one else have that facility. What is that? No access, view only, and use. These three options are only available. Right? And then control apart from this, everything. Everything what you see is controlled by the parents. Related to calendar, related to campaign member. If you remember, campaign member is a junction object. No, the time when I taught you about many-to-many relationships, I told you that there are certain many-to-many relationships. First of all, we create it with the help of junction object. If I wanted to create many-to-many relationship, I must have a junction object. ये हमने relationship में पढ़ा था. I'm just revising you few facts of that. If I wanted to create a many-to-many relationship, how could I create it? First of all, you must have a junction object. Must have a junction object for that. What is a junction object? By the way, junction object is a common child. Junction object is a common child for both parents. And the kind of relationship between this junction object and the parent is always mastered. It is never looked. These are the few things that we learned in the past. Campaign member. Then I told you there are few objects who by default have this relationship. Account and contact and cases. Then there was a relationship of the campaign member also. So between relationship, I almost forgot it. But yes, campaign member is one of the object. Is actually a junction object. Campaign member is a junction object. So here, whatever you see that comes under the option called as controlled by the parents. Here, what you see for the calendar, who is the parent, activities, the parent. Here, whatever you see that comes under the controlled by parent option, controlled by parent option. So apart from this, whatever you see, apart from all this, what we discussed right now, apart from this, whatever you see, that comes under an option called as controlled by the parents. That's it. Controlled by the parents. So if you now learn OWD with this table, this is going to be very feasible for you. It's going to be very easy for you. And I wanted every one of you to go up with this. You should learn every 9 options of OWD and to whom the options are actually, to whom the options are visible. So now they asked me in the interview, what is OWD? First of all, we tell that the OWD stands for Organization Wide Defaults. And it is used to have certain kind of settings for the objects that is going to be applicable, that is going to be applicable across the organizations. And that is why the name itself indicates we are making certain defaults. Defaults is certain settings. Default is the secondary word for settings. We are understanding how to make certain settings on the objects that is going to be, have an impression across the organization. That is what we are. Now, how many different options are there altogether? Answer is altogether there are 9 different options. Now you need to tell every option. You need to tell every option. In a way, what you can tell is that, see, I'll tell you the option, and then in a way like I have grouped certain options together because they are having the same property. And start with this private, public read only, and public read write. These 3 options are in a single group. Why? Because these 3 options are available for every object, standard custom one, except price book. Now if we consider these as 3, the 4th option is public read write transfer. This option is available only for the 2 objects, lead and the cases. Then there's comes public full access is the 5th option. It is only available for one of the object, and that is campaign. Then there are 3 more options in pipeline, after 5th, like 6, 7, and 8. No access, view only, and use. This is only available for the price book. And the 9th option is controlled by parent. That is available for all parent objects. All child objects, not parent, all child objects. Okay. So this is the way to learn the whole. Okay, first of all. Now, yesterday, actually, we have, what we have done. So, back to the discussion, what we have done yesterday. See, I have created, I created certain roles with this navigation. I created certain roles inside my organization. So for this organization, ABC entitlement, we have created, certain roles over here, like actually CEO, CFO, and CEO was already there. I created CTO, and below to CTO, I created one more position, one more designation. I created is Vice President. This was the first thing what we have done yesterday. The second thing was, we created this roles, and second thing, we actually have assigned the roles to every user. We have so the default system administrator, we assign them to the topmost role, that is the CE. Below to that, we created the CTO, CFO, and CEO. These are the siblings, and we allotted them to development user, manager user, and the testing user. And below to CTO, below CTO, there's a position called as Vice President. We allotted this to customer. Yesterday we have done this. Then why, I told you that we have, I log into the development user. I created account called over there. And you have seen that this account was visible to everyone else. Now I wanted to restrict this, I wanted to restrict the visibility of the account. What I intentionally want over here is that the account record created by any user, okay, not just a development. Because I created yesterday, I created a record for the development. I'll go with this example. Otherwise, this thing I'm telling you right now is actually, this is actually for everyone. So with this user, what I wanted is that, if this user creates a record, if the development user creates any record, if this user or probably the manager or the testing or the customer, any one of them. So if this creates a record, that should be visible to him and to the manager. Who's the manager? This is the manager. Training batch user is the manager. Apart from these two people, nobody else should have the access. This user shouldn't have the access. This user shouldn't have the access, right? This user also shouldn't have the access. That means I just wanted to restrict the record visibility. I wanted to restrict the record visibility. How I'm doing that? That is the first thing. और यहाँ से कुछ चीजें और निकल के बाहर आने वाली, ठीक है? So, चलो. So I'm going to start with the very first option of OWD, that is private. That is private. And guys, this is out of all these 9 options. First of all, what we are learning, OWD is most important on them. Out of every topic, OWD is most important. And in all 9 options of OWD, private is the most. Private is the most important. We are going to have a very lengthy discussion on this, because when you make OWD as to be the private, there are certain more things that happens. Apart from the record visibility, वो तो हमको मिल ही जाएगा, है ना? अभी जो मैं चाहता हूँ, what is my aim? My aim is to restrict the record visibility to certain users. I intentionally want that if this user or probably this user creates a record, that record should be visible to him and to the immediate manager, CEO. Apart from these two people, no other one should have the access. I just wanted to restrict the access of a record, restricting the record visibility. This is what I want. Right now, I have one example that the development users created account. That account is visible to everyone. That record is visible to everyone. I just wanted to restrict that. ये आएगा आपके OWD प्राइवेट करने से. लेकिन जब आप किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट का OWD प्राइवेट करते हैं तो कुछ और चीजें भी हैं, वो भी हमको समझना है, ठीक है? OWD ऑप्शंस 9 है. 9 में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है, सारी की सारी 9 ऑप्शंस में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है प्राइवेट. आपने प्राइवेट पढ़ लिया, आपने OWD प्राइवेट, सही. बाकी ऑप्शंस आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्क्राइब, बट ये इतने इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है जितना कि इंपॉर्टेंट है आपका प्राइवेट, क्योंकि बाकी में एक्सेस पब्लिक है. पब्लिक एक्सेस होने का मतलब भी सभी को विजिबल होता है, ठीक है? इस पर डिस्कशन करेंगे बाद में. अभी इंपॉर्टेंट है प्राइवेट करना. So when OWD is set to be the private for any object, except the price. Yes, except the price, of course, because we have discussed this right now. These 3 options are available for every object except one, who is that price book. We are certainly not talking about the price book. Okay, So when the OWD is set to be the private for any object, what the first thing that happens? यहाँ दो चीजें होती हैं, मैं पहली चीज पे अभी आपको लेके जा रहा हूँ, दूसरे पे इसके बाद लेके जा रहा हूँ. So when the object's OWD has been assigned as private, when you make it private, how you make it? I'll show you the navigation rule. I'll show you the navigation to change this. Or actually, आप जानते हो, this is the navigation. The same is the navigation. Sorry, same is the navigation. What I'm going to follow. This is the navigation to make the changes in the OWD option, right? So when I make the OWD option as to be the private for any object, what is the first thing that happens? First thing first, second thing that. The first thing is that then upon creating a record, see, just read out this sentence clearly and understand this. So upon creating a record by that user, by any user, the record will be visible only to the record owner, the user who created this record, and to his immediate manager. Apart from these two people, when you make OWD as the private for any object, like for the account, you make it private. For contact, you make it private. For hiring manager, you make it private. OWD option, see, one thing I think I forgot to tell you about one thing. OWD options, OWD options are liable on the objects. Did I have? Yes, I have one diagram. I'll share this diagram in the drive by today also. So we have different OWD options. See, for every object, there's a different OWD option, right? And you have seen this over here. You have seen this over here. Once again, go with that. Go to the security controls and then the sharing settings. So we have a list of so many objects, and if I wanted to change this, I go to edit. So I can make changes for every object. That means every object have a different set of OWD. So OWD is first of all a kind of setting. OWD is a kind of setting that is applicable on individual object. Account could have a different OWD option. Contact could have a different OWD option. Campaign could have a different. Every object, OWD is a setting which is applicable on the objects, and every object could have a different set of OWD options, right? Now, what happens with the OWD? यही मैं discuss कर रहा हूँ आपसे. यही मैं discuss कर रहा हूँ. Although we created these roles, I created these all roles inside the organization, but record visibility नहीं मिली. Roles हमने क्यों create किया? Because the ideology, the phenomenon behind creating the roles to achieve the record visibility, लेकिन वो नहीं मिला. रोल्स तो बन गए, यूजर भी असाइन हो गया, लेकिन रिकॉर्ड विजिबिलिटी नहीं. रिकॉर्ड विजिबिलिटी कब मिलता है? रिकॉर्ड विजिबिलिटी कब मिलता है? When the OWD of that particular object is set to be the private. जब आप उसे प्राइवेट करते हो, तब आपको दो चीजें मिलती हैं. Two things happen inside the org. One of them is now you have achieved the record visibility. One of them is the record visibility जो है वो आपको अचीव हो. उसका मतलब ये होता है कि अगर मैंने अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट की OWD प्राइवेट कर दिया, तो अगर कोई भी यूजर अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट में एक नया रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट करता है, that record is going to be visible only to him because he is the owner and to his manager. And apart from these two people, nobody else was having this access. अब यही चीज मैं रिवाइज करके, ठीक है, यही सेम चीज. चलिए, अभी इसके पहले मैं जाता हूँ और देखता हूँ कि अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट की अगर मैं बात करता हूँ, account and contract, they are clubbed together, and kind of setting you make over here is going to be applicable on both. जो setting आप यहाँ करेंगे वो दोनों पे आ जाएगा. I'm now interested only in the account, but now I can see the account is having the access. I make it cancel, and let's come to here. That account is right now having the access public read write. Okay, and you always need to go up with the internal access. Don't go up with the external access. We are actually talking about the internal access. So account right now, what is the OWD options of account? OWD option now is public, not private. It's public with the read write access. Okay. presently I can see the account is having this OWD option. What? Public read. Oh, sorry, public read write. So with this option, there's no such concept of record history. अभी आप देखो, yesterday in the development just login, I created one of the record inside the account. I'll go to the account and I created one of the record called as development user record 1. I created this record. And what was the finding is that, let me a second revise the same thing for you. What was the finding is that this record was visible to everybody. This record was visible to everyone else. Now, if I go to customers, if I go to customer, inside the customer login, also the record was there inside the account object. Development user नहीं होना चाहिए ऐसा. But yes, the record was there. हाँ, ये जो default login है, this is the login of the system administrator. Here also, if I go to the account object, I could find the development. तो ये तो होना चाहिए. चलो ये तो manager है, इसको तो दिखना ही चाहिए. But manager के अलावा बाकी लोगों को नहीं दिखना चाहिए. I see that this record is visible to customer. It is even visible to the manager. If I go to the manager's login and the account object, there also I can see the record of the so let's go to another one more user is left, testing user. Let's go to the testing users profile. Let's go to testing users login. I log in into the testing users account. Here also, if I go to this object, I can find everywhere it is visible. I don't want this. I want this that if this development user creates account, or rather any user creates account object, it should be visible to him and to his immediate manager. The manager, CEO is the manager. How to achieve this? How to achieve this? First of all, you need to make the changes in the OWD options, because right now I can see that for the account, what is the OWD option? OWD option is public with the read write access. Having a public option means it is available to everybody. It is available to everybody. That is the reason why you can see the record in everyone's log. Why? Because right now the access is public. Now I am making certain changes. See, बहुत ध्यान से. कोई सोएगा नहीं बॉस, हाँ, कोई सोएगा नहीं. 9 बज गए, अब उठने का समय हो. Salesforce में आ गए, अब जाग जाओ. अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट में जाकर public read write था. I'm making it to be the private. And when I'm making it to be the private, opportunity और cases में भी कुछ changes आने वाले. वो आपको लिख के आ जाएगा. Don't. हाँ, एक चीज और ऑब्जर्व कर लीजिए आप. अपॉर्चुनिटी का भी एक्सेस क्या है? पब्लिक रीड राइट, जो कि अकाउंट का एक्सेस है. और केस का क्या है? पब्लिक रीड राइट ट्रांसफर. ठीक है, कोई बात. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का क्या है? कंट्रोल बाय द पेरेंट्स. कुछ चीजें ऑब्जर्व कर लो आप. Now see, I'm making the changes inside this account की OWD जो कि पब्लिक थी रीड राइट एक्सेस के साथ, उसे मैं प्राइवेट कर. And it's indicating, it's prompting कि अपॉर्चुनिटी एक्सेस भी प्राइवेट होना चाहिए when the account की एक्सेस is set to be the private. अगर आप अकाउंट में चेंजेस कर रहे हैं, अपॉर्चुनिटी भी चेंज होता है, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं इस चीज. ओके. कह रहा है कि केस भी अपॉर्चुनिटी के साथ केस भी चेंज होना चाहिए. फिलहाल आई कैन सी अपॉर्चुनिटी इस पे है पब्लिक रीड राइट पर और केस है ट्रांसफर. ठीक है ना, कोई मेक इट ओके, ठीक है, ओके. तो अभी आप देख सकते हैं कि अकाउंट की एक्सेस प्राइवेट हो गया और साथ ही साथ अपॉर्चुनिटी का एक्सेस भी, अपॉर्चुनिटी का OWD भी प्राइवेट हो गया, केस का भी प्राइवेट. कोई दिक्कत नहीं हमें से. इंपॉर्टेंट हमारे लिए क्या, अकाउंट को मैंने प्राइवेट किया, ये ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट. Let me save this. It will take some time. All the sharing rules will be recalculated. So and one email notification will be sent upon completion. Do you want to continue? Yes, I want it. So it's taking some time. See, there's a warning message. There's a warning message that you certainly require to wait for some time. Till the time it is not completed. अभी मैं देख रहा हूँ कि account अभी भी public read पर ही पड़ा हुआ है. आपका अपॉर्चुनिटी भी पब्लिक रीड राइट है और केस भी, यानी ये पुरानी सेटिंग्स अभी तक है. ऑल्दो आई हैव सेव्ड इट बट इट इज टेकिंग सम टाइम इन बिटवीन. तो अभी ये पुरानी OWD ऑप्शन मेरे को दिख रहा है. नाउ लेट मी ट्राई विद रिफ्रेशिंग दिस एंड सी वेदर ये कंप्लीट हो या नहीं. हो गया था, वार्निंग मैसेज हट गया तो हो गया. एंड नाउ सी द ऑप्शन अकाउंट को मैंने प्राइवेट कर दिया है, उसकी वजह से अपॉर्चुनिटी और केस ऑटोमेटिकली प्राइवेट. ये मैंने नहीं किया, ये डिफॉल्ट बिहेवियर है. ठीक है, ये डिफॉल्ट बिहेवियर. अब अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट की OWD जो है वो प्राइवेट हो चुकी है। अब मैं सेम प्रोसेस रिपीट करता हूँ जो मैंने कल किया। लेट मी लॉग इन इनटू द डेवलपमेंट। लेट्स गो टू द अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट, और अकाउंट ही, क्योंकि हमने अकाउंट पर ही काम किया है, अभी जो हमने शेयरिंग सेटिंग्स में चेंजेस लाए वो अकाउंट पर ही लाए, इसलिए मैं अकाउंट पर ही काम करूँ। ठीक है, अकाउंट पर ही काम। लेट्स क्रिएट वन मोर क्रिएट अ न्यू, so I'm cloning this, right? So I'm creating one more model, जैसा मैंने कल किया, with the name called as development user record। कल का रिकॉर्ड इंडस्ट्री इज व्हाट, prospect is the type, industry is anything like banking, annual revenue is this, rating is what, phone number 556688. I'm copying the same for the facts also. Website you wanted to give it, otherwise let's skip. Ownership is public, active status yes. Let me save that. So with this name, development user record number, I created a record. Is it visible to this user? Of course. Why? Because why? He is the owner of the record. He has created this record. So who is the owner of this account? Development user is the owner. And so he must have the access. He is having the access. This record is visible to this user. No problem. Now log out from here. Log out. And we come back to the base. ठीक है, चलो अब ये हो गया एक चीज। दूसरा, जो रिकॉर्ड आपने बनाया है, डेवलपमेंट यूजर ने बनाया, दैट शुड विजिबल टू हिम, है कोई प्रॉब्लम? Let's check whether this is visible to his manager. Who's the manager? CEO is the manager. That means training batch user is the manager. Now we are now into the login of managers, है ना, जो उसका immediate manager है boss है। चलो इसमें जाते हैं अकाउंट। क्या ये रिकॉर्ड इसको विजिबल है? This record is visible to all accounts go, all accounts go. So development, okay, डेवलपमेंट यूजर रिकॉर्ड नंबर है visible। वैसे भी पहले भी था, है ना, 1 भी था, 2 भी है। अच्छी बात, अच्छी बात। लेट्स गो बैक टू द यूजर्स। तो ये कंफर्म हो गया कि भाई जिसने बनाया है डेवलपमेंट यूजर, उसको तो है ही, साथ में उसके मैनेजर्स को भी विजिबल। कल हमने ये देखा था कि रिकॉर्ड नंबर 1 वाज विजिबल टू एवरीवन, क्योंकि अकाउंट का अभी तक जो OWD ऑप्शन था वो था पब्लिक रीड राइट। आज मैंने चेंजेस किए, तो अब मैं लॉगिन करके एक एक के अकाउंट में देखता हूँ। सबसे पहले मैं इनके सिबलिंग से शुरुआत। मैनेजर डेवलपमेंट यूजर के जो सिबलिंग्स है वो है मैनेजर यूजर और टेस्टिंग यूजर के, तो इसके सिबलिंग्स हैं। और फिर इसके सबऑर्डिनेट पे आऊंगा, जो कि सबऑर्डिनेट है आपका कस्टमर यूजर। ये जो मैंने कल रोल हायरार्की बताई उसी से बात करें। चलिए एक के बाद एक। सबसे पहले मैं, या फिर आप जैसा चाहें वैसा देख सकते हैं, ऐसा कोई स्ट्रेटेजी नहीं है जरूर कि आप ऐसे ही फॉलो। चलो उसको भी बाईपास कर देता हूँ, जो मुझे पहले दिख रहा है उससे कर। पहले कस्टमर यूजर पे लॉग इन करते हैं। चलो कस्टमर यूजर पे लॉग इन किया, अकाउंट्स पे जाता हूँ। अकाउंट्स पे जाने के बाद में ऑल अकाउंट्स पे जाता हूँ। ऑल अकाउंट्स में भी कुछ नहीं दिख रहा। डेवलप करके डेवलपमेंट ही था, सिर्फ रिकॉर्ड नंबर 2 हाइड नहीं, जो मैंने अभी क्रिएट किया था सिर्फ 2 ही हाइड नहीं हुआ। पास्ट में कल एक और रिकॉर्ड बना था, डेवलपमेंट यूजर रिकॉर्ड नंबर 1, वो भी हाइड। मतलब अकाउंट में जितने भी रिकॉर्ड बने थे किसी दूसरे यूजर के जो बनाए थे सारे हाइड। हाँ, ये चाहे तो यहाँ पर एक नया अकाउंट बना सकते हैं, यहाँ पर एक नया अकाउंट बना सकते हैं। बात वो नहीं, बात ये है कि इसको रिकॉर्ड कौन से नजर आ रहे हैं, फिलहाल नहीं नजर आ रहा। क्या इसको डेवलपमेंट यूजर का रिकॉर्ड नजर आ रहा है? कल नजर आ रहा है, आज सुबह भी, अभी भी नजर आ रहा है। क्या अब नजर आ रहा है? नहीं नजर आ रहा। क्या यहाँ पे एक भी ऐसा रिकॉर्ड है? नहीं। मतलब रिकॉर्ड हाइड हुआ, रिकॉर्ड हाइड। इसके साथ ये तो सिबलिंग, ये तो सबऑर्डिनेट, ये तो उसके नीचे वाला है, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट पोस्ट है, ये कस्टमर यूजर, ये तो नीचे वाला। चलो अब ये पक्का होगा कि भैया सबऑर्डिनेट को नहीं दिख रहा, सबऑर्डिनेट को रिकॉर्ड नहीं। अब हम बात करते हैं सिबलिंग्स की, क्योंकि इक्वल प्रायोरिटी पे मैनेजर यूजर टेस्टिंग यूजर, ये और ये तीनों एक ही लेवल पे है। चलिए मैनेजर यूजर पे लॉग इन देखते हैं, सबऑर्डिनेट को तो नहीं दिख रहा है, कंफर्म हो गया। सिबलिंग्स को तो कहीं सिबलिंग्स को तो नहीं नजर आ रहा है। लेट्स गो टू द अकाउंट एंड क्लिक ऑन ऑल ऑफ। यहाँ पर भी कुछ नजर नहीं। चलिए डेवलपमेंट यूजर पे डी पे जाते हैं, तब भी कुछ नजर, मतलब जो रिकॉर्ड हमने कल बनाया था और जो आज बनाया दोनों हाइड हो, इसके बाद भी और जो बनाओगे वो भी हाइड हो जाएगा। क्यों हाइड होगा? कि वो अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट आपने ओडब्ल्यूडी ऑब्जेक्ट पे लगाई है, सर पे नहीं, ओडब्ल्यूडी ऑब्जेक्ट पे लगाई, तो उस ऑब्जेक्ट में अकाउंट में जितने भी रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट है वो हाइड, वो hide। तो मैनेजर को नहीं दिख रहा है। अब टेस्टिंग को भी ट्राई कर लेता हूँ, उसको भी नहीं नजर आएगा। जब एक को नहीं दिख रहा है तो सभी को। अब यहाँ जाइए, यहाँ पर भी आप जाके ऑल अकाउंट जाइए, यू वोंट फाइंड एनी। तो दिस इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज रिकॉर्ड विजिबिलिटी सेट करना। और किसी भी रिकॉर्ड की विजिबिलिटी सेट करने के लिए आपको ओडब्ल्यूडी पे चेंजेस करने, यानी आपको ऑब्जेक्ट की ओडब्ल्यूडी पे काम। तो आज हमने क्या सीखा? आज हमने ये सीखा कि एक यूजर अगर कोई रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट करता है, डेवलपमेंट यूजर हैज क्रिएटेड सम रिकॉर्ड इनसाइड एनी ऑब्जेक्ट, जैसे कि अकाउंट, अकाउंट, तो अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट में जैसे इसने कुछ रिकॉर्ड्स क्रिएट करे, दैट रिकॉर्ड शुड बी विजिबल टू हिम एंड टू हिज मैनेजर एंड टू हिज मैनेजर। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस नोबडी शुड हैव द एक्सेस ऑफ दिस। तो ये कैसे अचीव किया गया? क्या इसमें यूजर का कोई रोल है? बिल्कुल नहीं। क्या इसमें मैंने कोई सेटिंग यूजर लेवल पे किया? क्या मैंने एक इंडिविजुअल सेटिंग कस्टमर मैनेजर टेस्टिंग पे किया? नहीं, मैंने ऑब्जेक्ट पे कुछ सेटिंग, और ऑब्जेक्ट लेवल पे आप जो भी करते हो दैट इज लायबल फॉर अक्रॉस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर जितने भी है सब पे लागू। आपने ऑब्जेक्ट में चेंजेस करे, क्या चेंजेस करे? आपने ऑब्जेक्ट की ओडब्ल्यूडी पे जाके चेंज किया, और ये चेंज थ्रू आउट सारे यूजर्स पे लागू हो रहा है, क्योंकि यूजर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर हो, बराबर है। इसीलिए इस सेटिंग्स को कहलाता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वाइड डिफॉल्ट्स। अक्रॉस द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चेंजेस। आपने अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट को प्राइवेट कर, ठीक है, अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट को आपने प्राइवेट कर। तो अब आप अकाउंट रिकॉर्ड, अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट में जो भी रिकॉर्ड बनाओ, जिस यूजर ने बनाया, ये सिर्फ डेवलपमेंट यूजर की बात नहीं है, आप टेस्टिंग यूजर के साथ ट्राई करो उसको, आप कस्टमर यूजर के साथ ट्राई करो, कस्टमर पे लॉग इन मारो, कस्टमर के अंदर भी अगर कोई रिकॉर्ड बनाओगे तो वो सिर्फ कस्टमर को और ट्रेनिंग बैच यूजर को दिखेगा, बाकी किसी को नहीं, ठीक है। आप अब मैनेज इसके साथ ट्राई करो, टेस्टिंग यूजर के साथ, आप यही सेम चीज आपको नजर आएगी, यही सेम चीज है। हाँ, इसमें कस्टमर की केस में एक चीज और नजर आएगी आपको, बिकॉज कस्टमर का इमीडिएट मैनेजर डेवलपमेंट यूजर है, इसके अंडर में ये पोस्ट है, तो इसको भी दिखेगा और इसको भी। ये तो डिफॉल्ट मैनेजर है सबका। तो अगर कस्टमर यूजर पे लॉगिन मार के कोई अकाउंट अकाउंट में जाके अकाउंट में चेंजेस किया था, और अपॉर्चुनिटी और केस में भी हो गए चेंजेस, तो वो दोनों ऑब्जेक्ट भी चलता है। आप अकाउंट, अपॉर्चुनिटी और केस, तीन ऑब्जेक्ट पे ये काम करके देख सकते हैं। तो कस्टमर के केस में क्या होगा कि जो भी आप अकाउंट बनाओगे या रिकॉर्ड बनाओगे, वो कस्टमर को, डेवलपमेंट यूजर को, और उसके इसके भी मैनेजर, यानी इसका मैनेजर और उसका मैनेजर, ऐसा रहेगा। हाँ, लेकिन मैनेजर यूजर और टेस्टिंग यूजर के साथ वही होगा जो अभी हमने डेवलपमेंट यूजर के साथ देखा। अगर मैनेजर यूजर लॉगिन करता है या टेस्टिंग यूजर लॉगिन करता है, तो रिकॉर्ड जो है उसको और सीईओ दिखेगा, बस ना किसी को। तो व्हाट वी हैव अचीव्ड समथिंग कॉल्ड एज रिकॉर्ड visibility. We have achieved something called as record visibility. Record visibility. Record visibility is the phenomenon of creating roles. Why we create roles? To assign certain positions, to assign certain designation to the user, and to have a record visibility. But ये आपको clear होना चाहिए दिमाग, record visibility is not achieved with the role hierarchy. Record visibility is actually achieved with the OWD. That to be, when you make OWD has to be the private for the object. Then only record visibility is achieved. Then only record visibility is achieved. ठीक है, तो अभी आप OWD प्राइवेट करते हैं तो दो चीजें होती हैं, जिसमें से पहला मैंने आज बताया, दूसरा मैं कल से लेके स्टार्ट करूँ। बट इसके पहले मैं कुछ और बता देता हूँ, ये बाकी के ऑप्शन यहीं पर खत्म कर, कि हमको एक्चुअली डिस्कस सिर्फ प्राइवेट ही करना। देखिए, ऐसी कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट जिसका एक्सेस पब्लिक है, इसका मतलब वो सभी को विजिबल है। जैसे कि अभी आपको मैंने दिखाया कि अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट का जो पुराना एक्सेस था OW, वो था पब्लिक। इसी वजह से अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट सभी को विजिबल था, सारे यूजर देख सकते। तो डेवलपमेंट यूजर ने जो रिकॉर्ड बनाया तो उसको सभी देख सकते कि एक्सेस क्या था, पब्लिक। पब्लिक का मतलब ही होता है, पब्लिक का मतलब ये होता है कि इट कैन बी एक्सेस पब्लिकली बाय एवरी। अब उसमें लेवल ऑफ एक्सेस आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हो। अगर आप रीड ओनली दोगे तो मैं तो ओनर हूं, मैं तो सब कुछ कर सकता हूँ। मैं डेवलपमेंट यूजर मान के चलो, आप मैनेजर है, आप टेस्टिंग यूजर, आप कस्टमर यूजर, आप लोग क्या कर सकते हैं? पब्लिक, अगर पब्लिक एक्सेस है आप देख तो सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर मैंने आपको रीड ओनली एक्सेस दे दिया तो आप सिर्फ देख ही सकते, आप एडिट नहीं कर सकते। ये करके दिखा दो। अगर आप रीड राइट देते हो तो आप और मैं दोनों इसको रीड कर सकते हैं, दोनों राइट कर सकते हैं। मैं डिलीट कर सकता हूँ, आप डिलीट नहीं कर सकते। कि आपके पास दो ही चीज है, रीडिंग और राइटिंग। आप एडिट कर सकते हो, चेंजेस कर सकते हो, और कोई फील्ड का डेटा चेंजेस, लेकिन डिलीट का ऑप्शन नहीं रहेगा। आप डिलीट करके देखेंगे आपको इनसफिशिएंट प्रिविलेज करके एरर मिलेगा, वो मैं दिखाऊंगा, लाइव दिखाऊंगा। डिलीट का ऑप्शन सिर्फ मेरे पास रहेगा और इमीडिएट मैनेजर सबसे बड़ा कौन, सीईओ, ये दो ही लोग हैं जो कर सकते। बाकी हाँ, रिकॉर्ड आपको भी एक्सेस है, क्यों? क्योंकि ऑप्शन ओडब्ल्यूडी क्या है, पब्लिक, ये होता है पब्लिक। और रीड राइट ट्रांसफर करना, मतलब रीडिंग भी कर सकते, राइटिंग भी कर सकते, ट्रांसफर भी कर सकते। अब फुल एक्सेस मतलब फिर तो सभी कुछ कर सकते, डिलीट भी कर सकते, लेकिन फुल एक्सेस सिर्फ एक ही ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ है, वो है क्या, पे। और ट्रांसफर का ऑप्शन सिर्फ दो ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ में, लीड और केसेस। ठीक है, लीड और केसेस साथ। बाकी जो है नो एक्सेस व्यू ओनली यूज करना है, प्राइस बुक के साथ है। प्राइस बुक पे ऐसा है, ज्यादा काम मैंने आज तक किया नहीं है, सही बताऊं। प्राइस बुक ऑप्शन मेरे को भी कुछ ज्यादा क्लियर है नहीं, बिकॉज एक नॉर्मल सेल्स क्लाउड, सर्विस क्लाउड में प्राइस बुक ऑब्जेक्ट का उतना जरूरत नहीं पड़ता है। कभी इस पे काम करने का मौका मिले तो मैं कुछ खास बता पाऊँ उसके बारे में। जो है फैक्ट है, सच बता रहा हूँ। इतना बड़ा है सेल्स फोर्स की, हर किसी को सब चीजें नहीं पता रहती। ऐसा होता है कि आप जिस जिस पे काम करते चले जाते हैं, उतनी चीजें आपके एक्सपीरियंस में ऐड, चीजें कहीं ना कहीं छूटी हुई रहती। प्राइस बुक छूटा हुआ है, ऑनेस्टली मुझे कुछ खास इसके बारे में पता है। आप चाहें तो गूगल करके निकाल लेना, फिलहाल मेरे पास ज्यादा जानकारी नहीं है इससे। तो ये थे आपके सारे ओडब्ल्यूडी ऑप्शन, जिसमें से आज सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है प्राइवेट। प्राइवेट में से एक चीज हमने समझा कि अगर हम ओडब्ल्यूडी प्राइवेट करते हैं किसी चीज को ना, ओडब्ल्यूडी अगर मैं प्राइवेट करता हूँ, पहली जो चीज मेरे को मिलती है वो है रिकॉर्ड एक्सेस। रिकॉर्ड की विजिबिलिटी में सेट कर सकता हूँ किसको दिखना, किसको नहीं। दूसरा क्या है जो प्राइवेट करने से होता है, वो हम कल डिस्कस करेंगे। और वो वहां से फिर नया टॉपिक निकलता है अपना शेयरिंग का, वहां से मैं कल से शुरुआत करूँ। बाय टुडे आई एम स्टॉपिंग।